Hey friends, Michelle here from Scrappy Soul Sister, and I am here with you today for one of my favorite hops, which is the YouTube sketch hop. So every month, the second Friday of every month, I get together with some of my scrappy people and we scrap the same sketch. Now this month, Sarah Millerhouse picked out this great sketch from Creative Scrappers by Jenny Evans, and the theme this month is special moments. And so I thought I would scrapbook some remaining pictures I have of a recent waterfall hike I did with my daughter. Now I did layout with just her and the waterfall a little bit ago. And so this will, and I use Botanical Buzz, so I want to use the same collection. And this is a special moment because Julia came home from Denver when she found out that Pete wasn't going to be able to go with me to pick up our puppy. Which was like a, I don't know, an 8-hour drive. So Julia flew home so she could go pick up Delilah with me. Now, on our way down, we spent the night. On our way down, we did this great waterfall hike at Hood River. And these are the pictures. At least two, maybe three of these pictures will be on the layout. You'll see there's a spot for 3 pictures here. Now these are square. I'm not sure that I'm going to make it square. We'll see. I guess these 3 might be able to be square. This one would not. And then for the circular element, I was going to use some of the honeycomb elements that are in the kit. Now I'm going to start on a white background and see how it all lays out and decide if I want to do some mixed media behind it. So yeah, that's the plan. So let's get to work.
So the first thing I am going to do is kind of pull out some elements and see how I want this all to lay out. And so I am going to use a hexagon piece for the circle element, though I don't know yet what color I'm going to use. I am going to use the 6x8 pad for my paper blocks. So I'm going to pull some of those out, just whatever strikes my fancy. This blue um, piece is like one of my favorites in this collection, so I'm going to use that. I am going to hold my pictures up there and see what I think, and I'm not quite happy with it yet. So I'm going to do a little bit more digging, and I decide to use this yellow floral as the bottom piece. I stick with that teal blue that I mentioned earlier, and I go with this kind of mint mixed media looking piece. But I keep the other piece because I am going to use that for the interior of my hexagon. So I kind of have all that planned out, and the pictures I'm going to use. I'm going to just keep the matte symbol for my picture, so I'm just going to use white. And I've cut down my blocks here, or I'm in the process. I think the squares are both 6x6, and then the other piece I cut down to 5x8. I am going to ink all my edges with scorched timber. Now I'm trying to figure out what I want to use for the horizontal piece, and I decided to go with this kind of burlap looking piece. And there are my pictures matted, and I'm going to make a final decision. I'm going to go with the yellow, and I'm going to use that piece that I had pulled originally behind it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. And yeah, so far it's starting to look more like the sketch, and I do like stay way similar to the sketch on this layout with just a couple of exceptions. One being that I end up just using 2 pictures. You'll see that here momentarily. Now I'm making my triangles, so I just cut squares and then folded them, folded one in half, and then cut from that half point to
each edge, and then I just use that as my guideline to cut my other triangles. So I'm going to have my triangles going down. There was a geometric shape that kind of looked like an arrowhead um, going horizontally. I'm not going to use that piece. And then, like I said, I am going to go down to two photos. Other than that, I do stick pretty closely to the sketch. Now I was kind of thinking maybe I'll use hexagons for to represent that. I was thinking about this awesome title, but both of those kind of go out the window. The title, though I love it, felt a little big, and so and here I decide to stick with these two waterfall um, pictures, so to contain it a little bit better into those blocks. And I am going to go ahead and um, adhere everything together so that I can just move it as one solid piece because I do want to do some media on the background. So I'm just drawing a few light pencil marks so I can kind of have an idea of uh, where my blocks are going to go. And first, I want to add just a little bit of texture to the paper. So I'm using this Tim Holtz stamp with a brown solvent ink so it doesn't run. And then, oh, actually, I think that was graphite. And then I'm using the brown to just do a little bit of light stamping that says explore. And now I'm getting my colors ready. I'm just going to use two colors, using Mint Chill and Daffodil. Now, both of these are refills. I didn't get the stamp pads, at least not yet. I rarely use stamp pads for actual stamping. So I thought I would try the refills, use them as watercolors, see what I think, and then decide if there's a color or multiple colors I can't live without. And so far, I am really liking these colors. They go with the collection really well. So that is the daffodil. Going to add a little bit of the mint, uh, excuse me, the mint chill. And then I am also going to come back in with a hexagon stencil. This one is from Vicky Booten. I should be seeing that here shortly. And I am going to do both some stencil stamping as well as just some regular um, getting the color in there. Now I used it directly into the stencil because I wanted this part to be a little bit darker. So I do like how you can control the color depth quite a bit with the actual alcohol inks. And here I'm doing a little bit of reverse stamping. And then I'm going to do a little bit more with the mint chill. Let's see. So yeah, I painted the mint chills directly onto the stencil, going to let it sit in there for a little bit. And so I have the daffodil towards the top, the mint chill down towards the bottom. And now I'm going to add some white splatters. And I really like how this is turning out so far. I do add some splatters in both of those colors as well, so that might still be coming up. Let me see. Now I have my block up against my mixed media to kind of get an idea of how that's looking. I do want to add the little embellishment at the bottom left. I already have like the stamping there to represent the lines that were in the sketch.
but I do want to add a little bit more. So I am going to use this hexagon and go ahead and um, back that with one of the mint papers. Now, I think I might have left something out. I'm just realizing that I must not have been filming during some of the drawing process. I added to the mixed media background just a Tim Holtz texture paste. Now it is the translucent one. And so I added some mint chill to it. So when you see the close-ups, you'll see a little bit of shiny honeycomb as well. And so my apologies. I don't know how I missed that when I was recording. So, but anyway, moving on, I am now building my embellishment clusters. You see, I have some flowers and tags that I've added. I'm going to have the one down to the bottom left, one to the right of the title, and then one up above by the upper arrows and or triangles, I should say. I have those word strips as well. Those are going to change. Um, and so the tags I got from the packaging of I believe it was the laser cuts. And that's one thing I love about 49 and Market. Not any bit of space goes to waste, right? And so I love that you get the extra bits and pieces with just a little fussy cutting. So I decided to use these little brown swirls. I wanted to add just a little bit more brown. So I add those to each cluster, and you see I'm kind of moving my word strips around. And I don't know if it was because they just feel like long. So there's just a lot of things that are taking your eye in different directions. And so I decide instead, I do leave one of them in the center. Um, but once I get these flowers figured out, I am going to add the little word phrases from the sticker sheet. And so there are three, and so I add those three to my different clusters, and then I use the one strip that I put under our photos. And so that kind of feels a little bit better to me, at least. And so, yeah, I think I'm getting kind of close to the end. I'm just looking at a few more bits and pieces to see if there's anything else I want to add. And now I have come back. I've decided I want to add some sequins just to reinforce that kind of circular shape and to add a little bit of a darker color because there are some brown sequins in this particular mix. And then that is going to be it for my layout. So thank you so much for all of your support as I'm trying to grow my channel. If you like the content, hit like or subscribe. And here are some close-ups. Thank you, everyone.